Hello beautiful people, welcome to another video from me, Nick Reflex, codename Love1, on YouTube, Brighteon, BitChute, Instagram, Facebook, and wherever allows the truth without censorship. Today we're going to be I'm going to be reading you a lecture from Master Samael, a lecture by Samael Aun Weor, dated the 1st of September 1976, written by Samael Aun Weor, and the lecture is entitled Love and Sex. So a subject very close to most people. In today's society, we see sex everywhere. It's on males' brains, females' brains, 24/7. It's thrust in your face everywhere you look. Women in sexy clothes, tight clothing, on the television, radio, media, magazines, internet, everywhere you look. Sex, sex, sex. So, without further ado, let us listen to Samael Aun Weor's teachings on love and sex. So the lecture begins now. Allow me to speak a bit about love and sex. Love begins with a flash of delectable affinity. It is substantiated with infinite tenderness, and it is synthesized with supreme adoration. A perfect marriage is the union of two beings, male and female, one who loves more and the other who loves better. Love is the best religion available. Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great god Ibis of Thoth, author of the Emerald Tablet, wrote the following sentence: I give you love, within which is contained all the sum of wisdom. Indeed, love is the extract of all sapience. It is written that in its final synthesis, wisdom is summarized as love, and love as happiness. The power of love. When human beings are in love, they become noble, charitable, helpful, philanthropic. They are in a state of ecstasy, and if the being they adore is absent, a simple handkerchief, or a portrait, or a ring, or any love memory of them will be enough in order to fall into a state of ecstasy. That is what love is. Indeed, love is an effusion, an energetic emanation that flows within the deepest depths of the consciousness. It is, we would say, a superlative sense of the consciousness. The cosmic energy that flows from within the bottom of our heart stimulates the endocrine glands of our body and puts them to work. Then many hormones are produced that inundate the sanguineous channels and fill us with a great vitality. In ancient Greece, the word hormone meant longing of being, or strength of being. Let us observe an old decrepit man. It would be enough to put him in contact with a woman. It would be enough for him to fall in love with her, for him to become mystically exalted. Then his endocrine glands will produce abundant hormones which, flooding his sanguineous channels, will revitalize them extraordinarily. This is how love is. Indeed, love truly revitalizes. Love awakens in us the innate powers of the being. When human beings are truly in love, They become intuitive, mystical. In such moments, they forebode their future, afraid of what might happen to them, and often exclaim, "It seems to me that this is a dream. I fear that later you will find someone else on your way." Such intuitive hunches throughout time and distance become exactly fulfilled. That is love. In Europe and the United States, there is a wonderful order. I refer to the Order of the Swan. Such an institution scientifically analyzes the various processes of that which is called love. In India, love has always been symbolized by the Kala Hamsa swan, which floats marvelously upon the waters of life. Indeed, the swan emphatically allegorizes the ineffable joys of love. Observe a crystalline lake, where the swan glides over the most pure waters, where the sky is reflected. When a partner swan dies, the other succumbs with sadness, and it is because love is fed with love. To love, how beautiful is to love. Only great souls can and know how to love. So said a great thinker. Observe the stars rotating around their centers of universal gravitation. They attract and repel according to the law of cosmic magnetization. They love and turn again to love each other. Often stars have been seen to approach each other, sparkling, shining in the starry night sky. Suddenly something happens. A collision of stars, exclaim astronomers from their wonderful observatory towers. Love. Yes, they have come too close. Their masses have merged, have been integrated by the force of affection. They have become a new mass. Behold the miracle of love in the firmament. Let us observe a flower. The atoms of the molecule in the scented ambrosial rose, bathed by the rays of the moon in the starry night, on the banks of the crystalline fountain, speak of love. And look at those atoms around their nuclear centers. Obviously, the molecule resembles a miniature solar system. Why are their atoms rotating around their gravitational centers as the planets rotate around the sun? It is because they are attracted by the wonderful force that is called love. It is written that if all human beings without distinction of race, sex, caste, or color would even for a minute leave their resentments, vendettas, wars, hatred, and would dearly love each other, then even the venom of vipers would disappear. This is because love is a cosmic force. A force surges from within the vortex of all atomic nuclei. A force that surges from the vortex of any solar system. A force that surges from the center of any galaxy. It is an extraordinary force that properly used can perform miracles and wonders, as though who were performed by the divine rabbi of Galilee when passing through the earth. This is how love is. The kiss itself, which some give in a morbid manner, is indeed the mystical consecration of two souls eager to express in a sensory way what they live inside. The sexual act is the consubstantiation of love in the physiological reality of our nature. In Asia, they never built monuments to great heroes, not even to Genghis Khan with his bloody battles, but to love and to women. And it is because the Asians understood that only through the marvelous force of love we can transform ourselves radically. Maternity, love, woman, lo and behold, something grandiose that resonates in the choral of space in an always perennial manner. Woman is the most beautiful thought of the Creator made flesh, blood, and life. We males are fascinated by a beautiful painting, or enchanted by a beautiful sunset, or are captivated when observing an eclipse through an observatory. But the woman immediately provokes in us the craving of possessing her, the urge of becoming one with her, the drive of integrating with her in order to participate in the plenitude of the universe. Nevertheless, we must not in any way look at love or at woman in morbid manner. We must remember that love in itself is pure, holy, and noble. When a male defiles a woman with his perverse gaze, indubitably he marches on the path of degeneration. We must learn to see woman purely in all of her natural beauty. For us males, the woman, born for a holy destiny, is the only being that can liberate us from the chain of pain. For women, the male is something similar. She sees in the man all hope, all protection. She wants to be completed by the man. She sees in him precisely the masculine eternal principle, a force that has put into activity all that is, everything that has been, and all that will be. Indeed, man and woman are truly the two pillars of the temple. These two columns must not be overly close, nor exorbitantly away from each other. There must be a space so that the light can pass between them. When the force of affection is studied, when one comprehends that which is called love, we then feel that at the base of sex there might be something that can indeed bring us enlightenment, a mystical relevance that can transform us into superhumans. There is no one that cannot be changed by means of love. Indeed, it is only by means of this wonderful force that one can be changed. Adam and Eve left the terrestrial paradise together, and together, hugging each other, they must return to paradise. Adam and Eve left Eden for having eaten the forbidden fruit, of which they were told, "Thou shalt not eat of it." It is obvious that by not eating the forbidden fruit, we will come back into Eden. If through the door of sex we came out of Eden, then only through that marvelous door can we return to Eden. Eden is sex itself. The atomic powers of good and evil fight for supremacy. They clash within the sacred sperm. The sacred sperm is indeed formidable. Within it are found the mystical, ethical, and scientific principles that could make us something different, a superhuman. The superhuman. Friedrich Nietzsche addressed the superhuman. Let us remember the words of Nietzsche when he said, "When Zarathustra was 30 years old, he left his home and the lake of his home and went into the mountains. There he enjoyed his spirit and his solitude, and for 10 years did not weary of it. But at last his heart changed, and rising one morning with the rosy dawn, he went before the sun and spoke to it thus, 'You great star, what would your happiness be, had you not those from whom you shine? For 10 years have you climbed here to my cave. You would have wearied of your light and of the journey, had it not been for me, my eagle and my serpent. Zarathustra went down the mountain alone, no one meeting him. When he entered the forest, however, there suddenly stood before him an old saint, who had left his holy hut to seek roots in the forest. And thus spoke the old saint to Zarathustra. No stranger to me is this wanderer. Many years ago he passed by Zarathustra, he was called, but he was changed. Then you carried your ashes up to the mountains. Will you now carry your fire into the valleys? Do you not fear the arsonist's punishment? Yes, I recognize Zarathustra. Pure are his eyes, and no loathing lurks around his mouth. Does he not move like a dancer? Transformed is Zarathustra. Zarathustra has become a child, an awakened one is Zarathustra. What will you do in the land of the sleepers? As in the sea have you lived in solitude, and it has supported you. Alas, will you now go ashore? Alas, will you again haul your body by yourself? Zarathustra answered, I love mankind. Why? Said the saint. Did I go into the forest and the desert? Was it not because I loved men far too well? Now I love God. Men I do not love. Man is a thing too imperfect for me. Love of man would be fatal to me. Zarathustra answered, Did I talk of love? I am bringing a gift to men. Give them nothing, said the saint. Instead, take part of their load and carry it with them. That will be most agreeable to them, if only it is agreeable to you. If, however, you want to give something to them, give them no more than alms, and let them also beg for it. No, replied Zarathustra, I give no alms, I am not poor enough for that. The saint laughed at Zarathustra and spoke thus, Then see to it that they accept your treasures. They are distrustful of hermits, and do not believe that we come with gifts. Our footsteps sound too lonely through the streets, and at night, when they are in bed and hear a man walking nearby, long before sunrise, they may ask themselves, where is this thief going? Do not go to men, but stay in the forest. Go rather to the animals. Why not be like me, a bear among bears, a bird among birds? And what does the saint do in the forest? Asked Zarathustra. The saint answered, I make songs and sing them, and in making songs I laugh and weep and growl and hum. Thus do I praise God. With singing, weeping, laughing, growling, and humming do I praise the God who is my God. Many fine things has Zarathustra said, especially for those who are young enough for them. Strange, Zarathustra knows little about women, and yet he is right about them. Does this happen because with women nothing is impossible, and now accept a little truth by way of thanks? I am old enough for it. Swaddle it up and hold its mouth. Otherwise it will scream too loudly. The little truth. Give me, woman, your little truth, said I, and thus spoke the old woman. You go to woman. Do not forget your whip. Thus spoke Zarathustra. This painful phrase has been misinterpreted. Many have believed that Zarathustra will advise man to whip the woman or something like that. No, Nietzsche, the author of Thus Spoke Zarathustra, was very sweet, and he loved women very much. Indeed, truly, he only wanted to insinuate the idea of using the whip of willpower in order to overpower ourselves, and not to get carried away by our animal passions. Therefore, the whip is not against woman, but against ourselves, since the whip is the symbol or allegory of willpower. When Zarathustra arrived at the nearest town, which is close to the forest, Zarathustra spoke thus to the people. I teach you the superhuman. The human is something to be superseded. What have you done to supersede it? Zarathustra, however, looked at the people and wondered. Then he spoke thus. The human is a rope stretched between the animal and the superhuman. A rope over an abyss. A dangerous crossing. A dangerous on the way. A dangerous looking back. A dangerous trembling and stopping. What is great in the human is that it is a bridge and not a goal. What can be loved in the human is that it is an overgoing and downgoing. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Well, Nietzsche spoke of the superhuman, but he forgot to speak about the human. First, we must create the human within ourselves. Then, and only then, we can afford the luxury of elevating ourselves to the level of superhuman. Indeed, it is necessary for the human to be born within us, since day by day it is written that we are just rational animals. A professor of medicine exclaimed in Mexico when addressing us, saying, "We are just intellectual mammals." Okay, they can name us as they please, but the truth is that we need to create the human beings within ourselves. We need to have the necessary available elements for the creation of the human being. The human germs for the creation of the human being exist and are located exactly within our sexual glands. I know I am before a learned audience here in the auditorium of culture of Hermosillo. This is why, when addressing these things, seemingly morbid, I do it with the absolute certainty that I am standing before a decent learned audience. Therefore, truthfully, if I say that we are intellectual animals, I do not think that anyone would be offended by it, since we have always heard that we are rational animals. Thus, if instead of rational we say intellectual, we understand both terms have the same meaning. Thus, truthfully, we need to have the necessary available elements for the creation of the human being. That is clear. Again, the human germs, seeds, are within our sexual endocrine glands. These human germs could become developed or permanently lost. If we develop them, the human being will then be born within us. But if we do not work on ourselves, these human germs will be definitively lost. The human being must be formed within us in the same way that the butterfly is formed within the chrysalis, and the metamorphosis only possible by means of the marvelous force of love and sex. I said it and I repeat it again. The sexual act is the consubstantiation of love within the psychophysiological reality of our nature. So we will become transformed by developing human germs.
But there are different kinds of light.
Undoubtedly, these human germs can and must grow within us by means of love and scientific procedures.
Light. And there is subtle light. The light of an angel. The light that you would have in your dreams.